Hi, and welcome to Let's Talk About Some Cat Books, a series in which I'm going to be talking about warriors in a very similar style to Lizard Wizard's Catcast. It's not going to be 100% cut and edited to cut out any moments of silence or breaths like my analysis videos are, and similarly, it's not going to be fully edited with visual content. So, my first topic is just a thank you. Thank you for the subscribers. I wouldn't say I blew up, but I definitely gained subscribers after my Amending the Medicine Cat Code video. I almost doubled in subscribers. No, in fact, I think I have more than doubled in subscribers since that first video came out. I was at 135 and now I'm at 250. It feels really good to know that you guys enjoy this type of content, and although these do get significantly more attention than my animations, which I am generally more passionate about, it's great to see so many new faces come to the channel. These videos do take a while to produce though. I'm currently in the works of an Ashfur's Fire video script and have a lot more ideas set out. Not all these topics are long enough for individual videos though, which was the main reason why I decided to make this series. I had so much I wanted to say, but not an appropriate way to say it. So the first thing I'd like to talk about in Warriors is Mistystar. She was my favourite character for a long time and definitely is still one of my favourites. She may seem insignificant, but the role she plays is so just likeable. She's really accepting of Bluestar being her mother. She's a really calm, fair leader who is friendly towards the other clans, but doesn't ally herself with them. She doesn't feel the need to constantly work with them. As seen in Thunder and Shadow, she puts the safety of her own clan above the others when her River Clan River Clan warriors are taken prisoner. The other clans were like, let's attack the rogues, but she realizes no, because they will kill my prisoners. She puts her clan before anything else. And you can even see this in her novella, which is when she basically tells Mothwing she can't be Medicine Cat because she finds out she doesn't believe in Star Clan. Even though this was wrong for her to do, which shows this character does have flaws, it's showing just how she puts her clan first. She puts her clan first because she doesn't want an incompetent Medicine Cat. This is why when I was younger I hated Mothwing. It's Mothwing, right? Not Mothflight. Yeah, it's Mothwing. This is why I hated Mothwing, because I loved Mistystar so much I didn't realise at the time that her judgment was wrong. Another cat that I love and has recently become my favourite character is Longtail. I'm not sure if you saw, but about a month ago I did a map part on him outlining his life, and I realised just how much he's gone through. He started off Firestar's passion for fighting in the warrior life, ripping off his collar and finally allowing him to join the clan because they all believed it was a sign from Star Clan. And then he was in league with Tigerstar and Darkstripe, and they essentially peer pressured him. He started disagreeing with Tigerstar's ways, but Tigerstar was still peer pressuring him, and it made him feel really alone and scared. And then his apprentice died, because his apprentice was Swiftpaw. And if you didn't realise that, that's because he was one of the warriors that Bluestar didn't trust. And rightfully so from her point of view, because he was in league with Tigerstar at one point. Then he got blinded by... Sorry, my dog's being noisy. But he got blinded by a rabbit, of all things. And most people think this was stupid, but I think it kind of symbolises, and this might be me just looking in too deep, but I think it symbolises how petty things destroy him, because he didn't like kitty pets, and he got angry over very petty things. So a petty thing like a rabbit is what's gonna bring his downfall. He then had to retire to the Elder's Den really early, which must have sucked for him, because he was such a passionate, not violent, but determined warrior. He wasn't incompetent at all, but he had to retire early to the Elder's Den, and once again he must have felt so helpless. His clan distrusted him because he didn't do any good for them, and now he can't do any good for them anymore just when he finally decided he was going to redeem himself. He was going to be good and not evil. And finally, a petty thing is what killed him. A tree and saving prey is what killed him. Again, with the petty things destroying him, it's such a sad way to go, being crushed by your tree and your selflessness for others that you never had. That he never had at the beginning of his arc. He went through so much development, and he was a jerk at the beginning. And then he became a likable jerk, and then he became a genuinely kind, friendly guy. But this development wasn't rushed at all. It was stretched across in the background of 4 arcs, and it all just came down to this tree crashing on him for his friend / lover. I don't feel indifferent either way. I wouldn't be appalled if they were in love, but I personally don't 100% think they're in love. But what he did, his selfless act for Mousefur, even though it was a petty thing. Longtail's just such a good character, and I think he's really underrated, and he needs more recognition. Now, speaking of petty issues, when Thunder and Shadow came out, I believed that it was Twigpaw and Violetpaw on the cover. But when Shattered Sky came out, it was obvious that it was Twigpaw and Violetpaw on the cover. I'll put a visual aid up for this part. The black and white cat on the cover of Shattered Sky so betterly, that's not a word, so more accurately depicted how Violetpaw is described, which made me wonder who's on Thunder and Shadow. Is it, I'm guessing Needletail is on, because Needletail was quite prevalent in that book, but I couldn't figure out for the life of me who the black and white cat was. Maybe it is Violetpaw, and they were just inconsistent with her design. We all know how consistent the cover designs are, but it's bugged me ever since Shattered Sky came out. Now, let me talk about the novellas. Now, recently the novellas have been a source of controversy due to Spotted Leaf's heart. But usually I think the novellas are okay. Just okay. Some of them are really good, like Goosefeather's Curse, Tiger Claw's Fury, and Pinestar's Choice are all really good. Some of them are really bad though, like, personally I don't really like Dovewing's Silence, didn't add anything to the... Well, Dovewing's Silence was okay actually, but it's not a necessity. We don't absolutely need it. I don't get where all the hate from them comes from. Yes, you don't have to read them. They're extra stories. Like, Goosefeather's Curse was really good, but we didn't need to know it at all. Same with, what's the new one? Thunderstar's Echo. Pretty interesting story. Not as amazing as, like, Darkest Hour, but still not a terrible read. It's a good read. And I don't see where all the hate for the novellas comes from. I get why you're not interested in reading them, because maybe you don't have the time, maybe you don't read as fast as I do, because I read pretty fast. Like, I can get through one of those in like an hour. But I think they're okay. One thing that I don't really think is amazing, though, is the naming of the titles. Now, I'm just going to quickly look up all the Warriors novellas. And I have like a preposition? I can't think of what the word is. What I'm trying to say is idea for rearranging the stories that fall under the title of the bind-up, such as the Untold Tales, the Untold Stories, rather, and Tales from the Clans. I think these titles are okay, but the books that they put under these titles don't work. And now I'm speaking hypothetically. I know they were released in different times, so they have to go. They have to combine the 3 books that have been released. But as it stands, and I will put up a visual aid for this, in the Untold Stories, we have Hollyleaf, Mistyfoot, or Star, and Cloudstar's story. In Tales from the Clans, you have Tigerstar's, Leafpool, and Dovewing's story. In Shadows of the Clans, we have Mapleshade's, Ravenpaw, and Goosefeather's story. And in Legends of the Clans, we have Spotterleaf's Heart, Thunderstar's story, and Pinestar's story. Now, this is how I believe they should be arranged. In the Untold Tales, we should have Leafpool's story, in it instead of Mistystar's story, but keep the other two the same. This is because I believe that these are stories we already know. We already know Hollyleaf, Leafpool, and SkyClan's story, but we don't know it from their perspective. So this is the untold version of tales we already know. Now, Tales from the Clans sounds like, when I think of Tales of the Clans, I think of a tale is a story, but it's not integral, it's not important to the main plot line. So I think in Tales of the Clans we should put Spotted Leaf's story, Pinestar's story, and Mistyfoot's story, because they are important stories. They do develop characters, whether in a good way or a bad, when it comes to Spotted Leaf's heart, but they don't influence the main plot significantly. Yes, Pinestar's leaving of the clans influenced Tigerstar, but knowing his story, knowing his reasoning doesn't affect how we see Tigerstar turning evil. It's just a tale. Shadows of the Clans, perfect title for these books. Mapleshade was a shadow, Goosefeather was a shadow, and Ravenpaw was a shadow. They were all forgotten, shunned, left their clans. They're perfect shadows. And now in Legends of the Clans, it should be Tigerstar's story, Dovewing's story, and Thunderstar's story. Because these are all literal legends. Dovewing had special powers and was a prophesized hero. We all know Tigerstar's a legend. And of course Thunderstar's a legend. Now the only ones that are kind of iffy is, I believe, Pinestar's Choice. I don't know if that should be a tale or an untold story. Same with Cloudstar. I don't know if that's just a tale or an untold story. So I'd either keep it the way I have it or swap Pinestar and Cloudstar. Gosh. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Vision of Shadows as a whole. Now, there are obviously going to be spoilers for the new book. In fact, I've included timestamps of all the topics in the description, so you can skip a topic if you think it's going to spoil for you. Vision of Shadows is amazing. It's really good. The characters are really engaging. The villain is really dastardly. And just everything is fresh and new. We haven't seen it before. We've never seen a story that brings together the clans like this. SkyClan, I mean SkyClan came back. It's so fast-paced, with so many plot lines going everywhere, that all got tied together in Shattered Sky. Shattered Sky was one of my favourite Warriors books, up there with The Darkest Hour and Long Shadows. Absolutely amazing. If you thought Thunder and Shadow was good, times that by 2 or 3. I mean, okay, major spoilers here. Turn away if you haven't read Shattered Sky. Turn this off. Just in one chapter, like in one sentence, the villain was dead. None of us were expecting it, and one star died. They drowned each other. Basically, if you haven't read it, but you don't care about spoilers, everything came together. The rogues took over River Clan as well, so all the clans except Wind Clan were taking refuge in Thunder Clan. The rule that Darktail has, the rule like he has over his rogues, is unbelievable. It's like so, like, it's dictatorship. Is it? I think it's a dictatorship. It's like a mix between, like, it's kind of like play on of communist dictatorship is what it seems like to me. The fact that he thinks everyone should be equal, everyone should be free, but he is a dictator. He kills. When Rain tries to assassinate him, he kills him and then distrusts Needletail, and rightfully so in the end, but distrusts Needletail because of it, which isn't fair. He didn't have the knowledge that we had, and we knew he shouldn't trust her, but we were rooting for her, and he, regardless of whether he was right or not, he shouldn't have distrusted Needletail just because her boyfriend tried to assassinate him. And Violetpaw became so important, and Needletail was such an important character, and then they killed her. It's amazing what they did with this book, and then the big reveal of Darktail being One Star's son, and that's why he closed off Wind Clan's borders, was believable and dramatic. And the fact that they faced each other one by one, accepted their fates, and drowned together. Speaking of drowning, he nearly drowned Needletail as well. The sacrifices these characters make for each other and the dynamics they have between them is so good. Alderheart's really relatable. he's anxious, he's nervous of getting everything wrong, and with the, self-doubting teenage audience that reads this book, we sympathize with him. And we see his evolution as something we strive for or have already gone through. His struggles that he makes the best out of, but not in the way that Cinderpelt did, not in the optimistic way that she did, but in the almost pessimistic way that he did. Twigpaw came in, and she turned his life around. And I thought they'd killed Twigpaw as well. But then she went out and found the remains of SkyClan. It's just, all these plot points came together in this massive finale. And it's just, we're only halfway through. I really hope they do what was similar and worked for Dawn of the Clans for the remainder of the books and make it very heavily politics related. Very heavily trying to sort out whose family belongs in whose clan, where they should live, and don't introduce, another rogue being a villain. You have so much to work with. It's a very clever series, and I feel like we went downhill with Some of the Sight and Omen of the Stars, and then Dawn of the Clans came out, and it came back, and now we've got fun Vision of Shadows. They're going back to their old thing of killing off characters. Like, in Hawkwing's Journey, they killed off half of SkyClan. That was the first SkyClan book I loved. They kill off so many characters, but not excessively. Sorry, I'm fiddling with my memory stick. It's a brilliant series. And speaking of brilliant series, Dawn of the Clans. No one wants to read it. It's one of the best Warriors series. I personally think it's the third best. I think, or second, I guess, because Vision of Shadows in the original arc, I think, tied first place. So Dawn of the Clans would come second. I really like it because it's very character, relationship, and politics related. There are battles, but it's not, StarClan versus Hell, you know what I mean? It's very about the cats and the earth themselves. And yes, they get guidance from the spirits in this massive battle, but it's not heavily magic related. It's all about forming, like Hamilton's interesting, because it's about the formation of the world of America, the country of America we know. This is about the foundation of the clans we know and love. Characters really interesting, especially some like Clear Sky, who goes from absolutely hateable, horrible cat to one who's redeemable. I never imagined he'd be redeemable, but he is redeemable. And Grey Wing is just such a precious, helpful, good-intentioned cat. Thunder is a really strong character. And I do feel like the ending happened very fast, the clans just formed when Grey Wing was dying. But then Mothflight's vision came after that, and not confirmed. What's the word I'm looking for? Cleaned up the plot holes. They made the leaders stars because she discovered the Moonstone. And Dawn of the Clans was just such an interesting arc and such a improvement from Omen of the Stars. I feel like we give Omen of the Stars and stuff too much credit for all the maps and stuff we make, because it really wasn't written as well as we remember it being when we script our maps and stuff. But Dawn of the Clans really needs more attention, and not a lot of people read it, but I'm telling you, you should read it. You should really read it. The next thing I want to talk about is the Barnes & Noble exclusive chapters. I'm really annoyed, because I didn't get Thunder and Shadow from Barnes & Noble, and I heard there was this awesome Barnes & Noble exclusive chapter about Needletail as Needlepaw, being carried off by a hawk, and then her clan not caring, and then being saved by a rogue, who she was like, you can come to Shadow Clan, and then they chased the rogue away. It's explained a lot better if you actually read it, but this is what I've heard from Tennille when she was speaking with Lizard Wizard. But this is why she likes Rogue so much and is disgusted at Shadow Clan. This is such an important story for her character that I think should be shared with all readers. And then apparently the Shattered Sky exclusive chapter was about Dovewing and Tigerheart on their journey to find Twigpaw, which is the exact opposite of what Thunder and Shadows was. Not important at all. In fact, the Apprentice's Quest chapter is the one I have read, and that one was a good one because it was about Squirrelflight during her pregnancy, which added to her character, but it wasn't a necessity to know. We didn't need to know this, but it helped to know it. This is the best Barnes & Noble exclusive chapter we've got. And I just think they either shouldn't do them at all, or they should do them like they did them in Vision of Shadows. Not Vision of Shadows, sorry, The Apprentice's Quest. This is where I'm going to talk a bit about the art side of Warriors. The old and new covers. I'm indifferent. I'm sorry, some of the new covers are better. Some of the new covers are worse than the old ones. Just some of the old covers were really bad. Like, there's this... Like, for the New Prophecy, they were all just close-ups of their face, which felt really bland. And, like, some of the, like, faces and, like, expressions these old artists pull off are really bad. And, like, in the Ultimate Guide, some of these shots, like, Mapleshade, it's actually just her mouth open, and we can't even tell what she looks like. This tells us nothing about the character. The new artists definitely do a good job on the new books. Like, the Vision of Shadows covers are stunning. But I feel like they were just trying to rush through redoing the old covers. Some of the expressions pulled just look stupid, and the extreme close-ups don't look good. That's just my opinion on them. I think the new map is worse. It looks better, but it's not as clear. The old map was functionally better. The new map is artistically better. Speaking of artistic, Warriors designs, some people get really triggered over designs. They'll be like, Spotterleaf isn't a tortoiseshell, she's a calico. When it comes to designs, there's some really creative ones like Nifty Senpais. There's some more realistic ones. Just, they're fictional cats. You can draw them how you want to draw them. Obviously, don't make Firestar bright pink. They need to be somewhat grounded in the book. But they don't need to be realistic in the sense that if you want to make, Tigerstar this big fat cat, and if you want to make Ravenpaw this really, skinny, long-eared, cartoonish cat in your animations, that's fine. I think my rule is, for designs, how I feel, is the cat has to be recognizable. Either when you see it, you go, okay, I know that's Longtail. Or when somebody tells you this is Longtail, you're like, oh, I totally see it. Preferably the former, so characters are recognizable in your animations. But some cats do look very similar, like Mistystar and Bluestar, which is when I think the less realistic designs come into handy, because you can mess around with their proportions, make their eyes a less realistic colours. Lots of people on Mistyfoot make her foot almost like this purpley blue, like lighter to her grey-blue fur. But people go like, oh, you made blue fur blue, but she's not blue. Cats can't be blue in real life. It's a cartoon, it's an animation. And this is what I'm worried something like the Warriors movie is going to do to the fandom. Fans of the movie are going to see our animations and be like, this is not what they looked like in the movie. Personally, I don't believe in canon designs with a book series. Book series should not have canon designs. Yes, they can have canon descriptions. In canon, Bluestar is a blue-grey she-cat. But just because she has a canon description and a canon look doesn't mean she has a canon design. And now I mentioned it, I'm guessing you want me to talk about the Warriors movie, which I'm planning to make a whole video on, so I'm not going to talk about it here. I am going to talk about Mapleshade and why I believe she pops up so much. Fan service, let's be honest. People love Mapleshade. She's manipulative, and she's the only female villain. But within the Warriors universe, the reason I personally think she appears so much, and there could be no reason, they could just be throwing her in for the money. But I believe it's because she's worried of fading away from existence when cats aren't forgotten anymore. In Goosefeather's Curse, which literally takes place, pretty much right after her violent rampage because the River Clan medicine cat lives in Thunder Clan because their medicine cat was murdered and they had no apprentice. Hold on. There we go. And she says, when she approaches Goosefeather, he says, "Who are you?" And she says, "Have you forgotten about me so soon?" No one remembers her. So I think she keeps appearing because she doesn't want to fade. She killed everybody who remembers her. And yes, she's told. She's like Tigerstar back in those days. She was told as a nursery tale to Pinestar as a kid, which is we see in Pinestar's Choice. Oakstar is Pinestar's dad. So yes, she's not that old, but nobody remembers her as much as they remember Tigerstar because she wasn't global, I guess. She was within her clan, a tiny bit in River Clan, but mostly within her clan. People forget, cats were forgetting about her and she didn't want to fade away. As Blixmy made the rap called Fading, which focused on her not wanting to fade away. And I honestly think that's canon. I think she gets involved in all these lives, not only for revenge, but because she's afraid of fading away. Pinestar's Choice, I mentioned it earlier, is a good book as story, but I think it's a great timeline connector. Do you know what I mean by that? What I mean is it really connects all the books that take place, like pre Into the Wild and post Into the Wild, because it connects all of Mapleshade drama because he's told about Mapleshade as a nursery kit. And his father, Oakstar, is grieving over the death of Brindleface, which is the cat that Appledust killed. And Pinestar is leader when Bluefur's a kit. So it really connects these timelines and just shows how close these cats are. Pinestar also, as a kitty pet, meets with Jake. And Jake is wondering about Talltail, which is really cute because one of the errands confirmed they're a canon couple. And like Jake wasn't thrown in your face like Mapleshade is. He was included because he's a kitty pet and Pinestar was around kitty pets and he would bump into Jake. But it was just a great timeline connector for connecting all these super additions to the main storyline and the novellas to the main storyline. And I liked it more for that than I did for the actual story. Not that the actual story was bad, it was good. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. So, the final thing I want to talk about is my Ashfur video, which is the main thing I have in the works. I've been working on this for ages. I started in January. By February, I hated what I'd done. I'd started over. And then, I'm still, only 2,000 words in, and I've only just started talking about the actual fire scene itself, rather than just the build-up and the character of Ashfur. So this will probably be the next video that comes out. Either that or a Warriors movie video, or if something else major in the fandom pops up, I might make a quick video on that. I say that. I did try to do that with Spotted Leaf's Heart, and I made a 23-minute review. But this is what you should be expecting to see from me soon. One final thing I want to talk about, actually. Vicky Holmes leaving Warriors. Lots of people think it's because of Spotted Leaf's Heart. No, I think she's been planning to do it for a while now. I think Spotted Leaf's Heart was the final push. But I think she also wanted to leave in, coincidence to Pinestar's Choice because it really reflects how she was feeling. Pinestar wanted to leave his clan because of the burden. She wants to leave the warrior clans because of the burden. And this was shown with Spotted Leaf's Heart, the onslaught of rage she got. And yes, I was one of the contributors, but would he know? Sorry, my dog's barking. Yes, I was one of the contributors to this rage, but we need to remember that there was other good books. She makes so many good books. Shattered Sky was amazing. This was a one-off. The only other book we've gotten that's really bad, in my opinion, is Sky Clan's Destiny. Because even Omen of the Stars is bad, but it's not terrible. And I just feel really bad that she's leaving. I know she's not leaving just because of Spotted Leaf's Heart. But I feel really bad she has to leave under these circumstances. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about in this one. I'll probably make another one. These aren't going to be scheduled or anything. But as soon as I feel like I have gathered enough topics that are too short to make individual videos on, enough topics to make another little mini podcast out of. So, thank you so much for listening and watching if you were looking at some of the visual content for some parts that you needed. I have no outro song because this isn't Catcast. Welcome to Let's Talk About Some Cat Books. We're gonna talk about some things in it all had to do with warriors.